In this video, I will show you how to update the status of your inventory items throughout their journey from shop to warehouse hub and beyond. So to kick off, we're in the inventory tab in Listing Monster, and I'm on the main inventory table. And the process of me updating and tracking the status of these items is incredibly easy. It basically boils down to step one, filtering or searching for the items that you want to update status for using the table tools, and two, batch editing their status or information to reflect the updated stage or reality of those items. So why don't we jump into perhaps the first use case that there would be in your item journey flow, which would be back at the shops. A shop manager, for example, has uploaded a handful of items to the e-commerce inventory system, which we handled in a previous video. And you'll see those are appearing in front of me. Now we've set up the default view of this shop. Each user can have different views where they can see the kind of that are relevant for them. So I've currently got this filter set up to show me everything that's in my shop and currently has a status of in shop. So the first action I might take in terms of updating the status of my items is when I decide to send those items on their way to the e-commerce hub. So if I wanted to update the status of those, I would manipulate the filters on the table to get the items which I put in the box to go. I would then select all the items I wanted to update status for, click batch edit in the bottom right here. I can then, if I use the concept of a transfer box ID, i.e. give the box that I'm sending those items in a unique identifier, I can enter that here. I don't have to use that. I could just use my shop code, for example, to identify those items. But say if I knew that the box ID was 1003, I'd put that in there. And if I had then handed over those items to the courier, I could update the status to in transit. These things don't have to be updated at the same time. They could be done separately. And then I would just click save. And you'll see that those items have flown out of my view and moved on to the next stage, where we can pick them up later on. So each person in your item journey flow will basically have their own views configured of the inventory table. And as item statuses are updated by each person along that flow, shop manager to check-in staff at the warehouse, to different stages of the warehouse, for example, check-in, photography, listing, put away, pick and pack, they would all be their actions, either via manual entry or via barcode-driven scanning, would be updating the status of these items and moving them on to the next stage. So for example, the view we might configure at the warehouse side might be the check-in staff might then have a box with ID 1003 arrive into the warehouse. They can filter for that on Listing Monster. The items that have been designated to box 1003 and are in transit pop up on the screen. They can then physically inspect or scan in those items if using barcodes, and then check those into the warehouse. So again, we would filter for the items that were in front of us using any of the possible filter options. In this case, I've used transfer box ID, and then I'd click batch edit and update the status to in warehouse. And again, those would then fly out of my current view as the status has been updated, and then I can move on to my next task. And those items are just progressing through the item journey with their statuses being updated by each person who touches the item along that journey.